I know it's a little bit out of season, but Iris fragrances. We're going to be going over 10 of my personal favorites. I guess to be fair, a few of these are going to be on the fresher side, so you could wear them spring, kind of heading into summer here. But the overwhelming majority are going to be a little bit more sweet. They could work for summer evenings as well. Really though, I've been seeing this comment pop up multiple times on my videos, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I really haven't sat down and put together like an Iris fragrance list, which is kind of weird because I love the note and I love a lot of Iris fragrances. So I figured we might as well go ahead and knock it out. Why wait until the end of the year? We can just do it now, and I think a lot of guys would like it. So Iris, what is Iris? Well, it's kind of a floral note. Okay, it can be fresh and it could also be sweet. When it's sweeter, oftentimes people will compare it to like a makeup bag smell or a lipstick smell. Some of these have a little bit of that going on more than others, and we'll kind of run through all of this here. But just know there are a bunch of different forms of Iris and a bunch of different types of Iris fragrances, so no matter what your taste is, you'll find one that you like here in this video, trust me. We're gonna start off with an honorable mention. The reason why it's an honorable mention is because it's discontinued, very unfortunate. It's Dior Homme Eau. So I love this stuff. Absolutely love it. Had to buy a backup bottle a little ways back when it was discontinued. You know, this was kind of the originator of the Prada L'Homme smell, believe it or not. This was out before Prada L'Homme, and it just didn't catch on like Prada L'Homme did. I would still take Dior Homme Eau over the Prada. I prefer it, but obviously nowadays you don't have that option. But it's got iris, it's got coriander, it's a fresher take on iris, of course, so it's you know, it's soapy and clean. It smells amazing. I really like the scent, but you know, we're not going to spend too much time on it because you can't really get it anymore. We're going to start off with the main list now. These are kind of just tossed in, not really going off of any order in particular here. That would be very hard for me to do. We're going to start off with an obvious one, Dior Homme Intense, from one Dior to another. This line is legendary. If you like Iris, you will have a very fun time diving into this line here, the Dior Homme line. It's got iris, ambrette, lavender. So it's chocolatey, it's sweet. Now this one here, to some, may have a little bit of that makeup bag smell. So maybe not the best starting point if you're coming from freshies and aquatics and that sort of thing. There are a lot of other ones in here that are going to be easier to kind of dip your toes into iris without going too crazy. But this is one of my favorite designers ever. I love this one. Next up we have Valentino Uomo Intense. So we're kind of stringing right along here. A lot of these are going to have some similarities. I just tried to pull the cap off. I forgot this bottle does not have a cap. The new ones do, though, at least I believe. Am I right? Yes, I am right. I was kind of confusing myself. But, you know, this is the older style bottle. I did a side-by-side, old and new. Love both, smell great. This one, of course, has iris. It's got vanilla, much more vanilla heavy here. What else do we have? Leather also. Very nice smell. Now this, compared to Dior Homme Intense, this one here will be a little bit more beginner friendly. If you want a sweeter iris and you want a place to start, I would go with something like this over the Dior. But don't get me wrong, both are still different and they have their places. Now let's go to this one up next, Gentleman Reserve Privee. This was actually kind of the inspiration for this video a little bit. I just recently uploaded my review on it. I've had that review shot for like over a month, and I sent it out to my members, so a lot of my members have watched it over a month ago, and I just made it public. And just seeing the feedback on that one, a lot of other people really like this new Gentleman, and I think that probably was where I got the comment saying, hey, do an iris list. And so this is kind of where that came from here. I love this stuff. It's got chestnut, rum, or whiskey rather, iris of course. It has this very heavy chocolatey smell as well. This is still able to be different than Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense, Gentleman Eau de Parfum. It still has a different thing going on with that chestnut, giving it almost a different gourmand twist. And of course with the boozy accord, this has become really kind of my favorite in the entire Gentleman line. I think everything about this is outstanding. Performance is good, quality is good, This one here, this is impressive. All right, now let's go over to Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Parfum. So this may be a little bit of a surprise. I know it was for me. When I think of Bleu Noir by the brand, I think of vetiver and musk, really, you know, fresher, woodier scents, that sort of thing, but not this one. We've got iris, suede, and musk. So there is musk, of course, but you know, it's still very iris heavy for sure. But I love how it's done, man. You get that iris, a little bit of a dusty sweetness, but then that traditional kind of Bleu Noir musk note in here, a good amount of woods kind of accompanying all that sweetness there. So it really balances it out nicely. You know, it's not too sweet, not too woody, not too fresh. It's not really too much of anything. It's kind of a nice balance of all of these different accords, and it's very pleasant. It shocked me. Out of the entire line, this one is also my favorite, the Parfum here. Not that the Bleu Noirs are bad, but yeah, they're good scents, but I think this one has just a little bit more appeal, especially to a collector if you want something that's a little bit different and not just kind of woody and, you know, clean, that sort of thing. This one here is the way to go. Really nice take on iris. It's a little bit of a fresher iris, so that's pretty cool too. Very wearable stuff, and this is the newest, but you can get it for about $65 currently. I will link it down below. It's a great deal. You were probably waiting for this one to show up, and of course, here it is. You don't have to wait any longer. That's Prada L'Homme. So this is kind of the replacement of Dior Homme Eau, and it's a great replacement. It's a great scent. You have iris, neroli, bergamot, so it's, of course, a fresh iris here. Going to be probably about the freshest one out of the entire list here. It's a soapy, clean office scent to the max, 100%. A work scent, a school scent. If you want to smell well put together and classy and sophisticated, this is one of the best fragrances on the market for men on the designer side that you could go for, hands down. It works time and time again. There's a reason why this one got hyped up. Let's go over here next. We have Dior Homme Original. So this one, they only give us 3 notes, kind of going with the standard 3 there. They gave us iris, cardamom, and vetiver. So very similar to Dior Homme, not 2020. This is where it gets confusing. I did a whole video on this already. I'm not going to go too in depth, but instead of smelling like Dior Homme 2020, you know, the new Dior Homme, this is OG Dior Homme, like where the line started with the iris. And I'm so glad that they did that. A little bit hard to get, like I mentioned. It'll come around at some point. If you already have Dior Homme, like, you know, not 2020, then you don't need this, of course. If you don't have it, then just be on the lookout. It'll pop up at some point. That's how I was able to get it. People get mad. They're like, oh, why do you talk about that? It's not available. Well, clearly it is, because I found a bottle. It's not that hard sometimes. Hop on eBay. Chances are you'll probably find one for yourself. All right, now let's go with another one here, Gentleman Eau de Parfum. I really tossed this around because I already put Reserve Privee. I've doubled up on the Dior's here, actually tripled up technically. So I was like, do I want to put in Gentleman EDP? And then I realized it would be kind of doing this video a disservice, because this EDP is still different than Reserve Privee and all of the other ones. You know, it does fit in with Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense, Reserve Privee, that sort of thing. However, this is going to be the most mass-pleasing and most beginner level of all of those, of the sweet ones here. So Reserve Privee, Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense. This is going to be probably your best jumping off point, followed by Valentino Uomo Intense. Very vanilla heavy, iris, black pepper. Like I mentioned, it's just the most wearable. You know, if you're someone who wants to play it safe, but you want to start somewhere sweet, you could go with this or the Valentino. Just kind of sample them first. You know, everyone has different preferences, so it's hard to say for sure, start here or start there. You know, you may like this and you may not like the others, or vice versa, but it is a good place to kind of put your nose on first, grab a sample of it, try it out in a store somewhere, and kind of see, you know, what you think of it. It's going to work well for a lot of people. Let's go to a cheapie up next. We have Halloween Man Shot. Iris, vanilla, and cardamom are some of the main notes. Really pleasant. It definitely caught me by surprise. This is one that got hyped up a little while back. This one, you know, kind of really got hyped up, and then a few years later Halloween Man X got hyped up, and now Halloween Man X is kind of the big forefront of the line, and this one has fallen back. But I was very late to this one. I didn't get on it when it was being talked about. It's more of a recent addition to my collection, but I'm impressed with it. I think it's very nice. You know, it really has that iris, cardamom spiciness, of course. A good dose of sweetness in here. It's a little bit syrupy. It's going to be more playful, probably the most playful out of the bunch here. Usually iris fragrances will be a bit more mature, and to some maybe too mature if you're a younger guy, especially something again like Prada L'Homme. It's soapy and classy. There's nothing to laugh about with that one. When you smell Halloween Man Shot, you can tell there's a little bit more of a playful kind of easygoing smell about it. So it's going to be for the younger crowd, and it's going to be just sweeter and syrupy. So something to keep in mind. But for the price, it's very nice, and it's kind of a good jumping off point as well if you want a cheapie to kind of give you a general idea of what the note is all about. Next up, we have Roberto Cavalli Uomo Silver Essence. Iris, tonka bean, and violet leaf are some of the main notes. A little bit of a fresher one here as well. I really like the violet leaf. It's kind of used throughout the line. The original Uomo has it, or it might be regular violet. I can't remember for sure. And of course, this one here using violet leaf. So it's a little bit fresh and kind of watery to some extent, but then you get a relatively fresh iris, of course. Tonka kind of brings it back and gives it a little bit of a dusty, powdery, semi-sweetness, just to kind of change it up. Now, this one it's impressive. Really good stuff. And for the price point, it's hard to beat, you know. Typically, when it's in stock and everything's fully available and normal, I want to say these are $30 range within that price point. A lot of other fragrances for this price point are not nearly touching this one in terms of quality and just even being worth your while. So, you know, if you could snag a bottle of this one and you want a fresher iris, that's just a different take on it altogether. Check this one out. You know, this smells different than everything else here, even though it still uses iris, and I think that's pretty cool. And last up for this video, we have Nuit de L'Homme L'Intense. Iris, violet, tonka, and vanilla are some of the main notes. So what's so funny about this fragrance and a lot of them is you have Nuit de L'Homme and L'Homme, the two originators of each line, and then for the most part, everything else is kind of under the radar. Those two there really did well and are continuing to do well. Sure, you have L'Homme Team. That one popped off and did very well. Guess what happened? Discontinued, or at least they said, and it's kind of, you can pick it up now, but it's still a little bit iffy, in stock, out of stock. Another example, Bleu Electrique, did very well for a month or two, immediately discontinued. Another one, L'Homme Libre, did very well, at least in the community, discontinued. The luck with these flankers just isn't so good. Either they do very well, but then they get cut off and you can't buy them anymore, or they keep making them, but no one is really buying them or talking about them. And that's kind of where L'Homme, or Nuit de L'Homme L'Intense, falls into here. But it is iris. It's very powdery. It's sweet. You know, it's quite a bit different than Nuit de L'Homme, the original there, but still sharing some similarities with this kind of spicy and nighttime, you know, semi-masculine smell, kind of oriental, that sort of thing. So there's bits and pieces, but also, you know, using the iris, the violet, it gives this one a completely different vibe. That being said, it's a really nice pickup though. I can't complain. I'm glad I have it, and it's one that kind of gets overshadowed, but it's really nice. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. 10 of my favorite iris fragrances. Love the note, love these fragrances. A lot of good stuff in here. And again, no matter what you're into, you can find something here that you'll like. Links will be down below to the best prices on these. That's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.